starts live right now. The horror. The horror. What had our co-hosts so terrified last night that some of them just couldn't take it? OMG. You may be at a loss for words when you hear how the White House is reaching out to young voters. Nick Cannon talks about why his next big move may take his life in a totally new direction. Cristela Alonzo created and stars in the red-hot new sitcom Cristela and reveals how Whoopi and Rosie help show her the way. With your hosts, Whoopi Goldberg, Nicole Wallace, Rosie Perez, and Rosie O'Donnell. It all starts now on The View.
To The View, y'all. You know, Rosie, I heard something last night on a news program that you sort of, it means you have some insight into what's going on.
Really?
About Frozen.
Oh, yes.
You want to tell her?
The #1 grossing animated movie of all time, and not a surprise to me. Frozen!
And because... And if you wanted to get married again, you could get married in a Frozen dress.
Yeah.
If you want to go on some rides, you can go on a Frozen ride. You can Frozen dolls. There's a Frozen heaven out there.
Yeah, I think that for kids, for this generation of kids, it is the defining movie of their childhood.
For girls, though, because I have a 2.5-year-old boy, and he's not so into it.
Really? Mm-mm. Well, I don't know.
Wait a minute. Did you hear that? Really?
I really
like,
think
am I raising him wrong?
I think there's something wrong with people who haven't yet watched the film with their children. And if so, I don't know, maybe because my daughter is so obsessed.
Perhaps.
But has she seen Cars 79,000 times?
No interest
Okay, so
whatsoever.
I have seen Cars 79,000 times.
Do you love it?
Love is a strong word. I like it. I liked it very much the first 1,200 times.
Yes.
My love is starting to wane.
Yeah.
But I feel the same. I mean, I think it's because of your kids, right? And then it becomes this whole emotional attachment to what they love. And
yeah. Although my other kids didn't have one movie like this that they really wanted over and over.
They can see it on the iPad. I mean, I literally stick Cars on like every time we're in a line. I'm like, oh God, long line. Watch Cars for 10 minutes.
Right.
I mean, do you remember in the olden days when you couldn't get stuff on demand? Do you remember that?
Right.
When you had to wait
for it to come on
for
with
Thanksgiving
to
see The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. So Sound of Music.
Or Peter Pan.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to wait, and it was, you built up the anticipation. You knew it was holiday time. You were going to watch The Witch, and you knew what was going to happen, but it was so good.
Right.
You know that?
We grew up like that.
And when you explain that to your kids, I said we had to wait once a year to see The Sound of Music, and my kids are like, oh, you must have been really poor. I was like, no, it wasn't invented yet. You didn't even have a VCR.
No. It's crazy anyway. And what is it? Open up.
Oh, We Are You is the, I.O. Wright is an artist and photographer, and this is for National Coming Out Day, which I believe is Saturday.
Yes, it is.
And she's photographed all people across the country, all LGBT, LMNOPQ, everything.
Yep.
And it's a wonderful project.
Yes.
And
Oh, you know what happened?
what happened?
I was watching Wheel of Fortune, as I do,
Yes,
as we do.
yes.
Last night, did you see?
Yes.
The guy said, and who are you here with today? And he said, my fiance, I'm making up a name, Mark. And I was like, wow, this is such an American show, and it's such a universal show.
Yes.
And he just said it so casually, and Pat was like, oh, glad he's here.
Yeah, I mean, you see it now. It's Jeopardy. You know, you see all kinds of folks. But Wheel of Fortune, they cracked it, baby. They say, okay, no problem.
That's right.
Whoever's sitting over there is gonna be walking over here if you win. Okay?
Right.
I watch it. I don't understand it. I know what it is, but I can't. My brain doesn't allow me to figure it out.
Even if there's only one letter missing, I still can't get it. I'm like, God, how'd you know that?
Really?
Yeah.
I'm like, back to life.
Me too. I'm like that. I scream. Oh, you got a little.
Yeah.
I scream at the TV when I know it and they don't know it. And when there's someone who's super good, when they get it with 2 letters, I like want to find that person on Twitter and go, I like you. You know, can we talk all about?
I mean, I love when people, because you know, when you're backstage often, they're watching, if you're doing a play or a musical, folks are watching. So you come back and you watch, and when I did, I can't even remember the play, but everybody backstage, just, you know, people putting their bra on, and they would be screaming out words or screaming out. I was like, how do you know that?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you do the thing, and I was like, okay, baby.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't do it. You know, I can't do it. But I love that Frozen is that thing for kids now. What so many things were for us. Because if you got one of those things, I think you're lucky. I think you're lucky to have something special. Anyway, I'm freaky that way. You know, Ebola just will not go away. It's claimed the first life in America. Thomas Eric Duncan, he died in Dallas yesterday. Now 5 airports say they're going to start screening incoming passengers for signs of infection. Now, the CDC insists they have this under control. I hope they do. They say they do. I'm putting my trust in them, but what do you think?
You know, I mean, listen, I think that it's not as scary for the United States as they're making it out to be, and that it could be a little bit of a distraction from all the other things that are going on. Is it a serious thing in Africa? Yes, it is. Is it life-threatening? Yes, 50% of the people die. Do we have a cure for it? No, we don't.
But I think that they should take as much precaution as they can because of the fact that there is fear out there. And I think that to squash the fear is to put these in place, these safe precautions in place. And so I'm not opposed to it.
Well, I'm sad they euthanized the dog that we talked about yesterday in Spain, and I'm scared. Sadly, life is imitating some of those stories, and I've been thinking about what Dr. Besser said all week about why we don't have these drugs, and that to me seems like what has to change. Just because it's a population that maybe can't pay for the drugs, or just because it's a disease that we didn't think would happen here, we didn't have the drug. That seems like an inexcusable explanation.
Shocking. It's shocking that especially if you know. Go ahead.
Yeah, right? I mean, we don't have drugs because we didn't need them here. We don't have drugs because we didn't think it would come here. Well, it's here.
But if you know it's that hard to make,
you
gotta stock it up.
Yeah, like the Costco for drugs. I mean, get some extra, put it on the shelf.
And I tell you, it's crazy. You know, they're saying, oh, you make it from tobacco, and my first thought was, see, maybe I stopped smoking too soon. But I don't know. You know? I mean,
Well, you know, it's hard. 4,000 people have died from Ebola, right? And 1.6 million died of AIDS in 2012, right? And there's a financial element to pharmaceutical companies. So there's no reason for them to stock up on a drug that's only killed 4,000 people.
Except that it's a drug that's killed 4,000 people, and you can't tell me it's not you. And you don't know if it can get here, and it got here, and y'all didn't know it.
Right.
So one would think, upon thinking about it, is, hey, it's possible that this could happen. Let's start manufacturing something.
And the biggest issue of contention here is, why did not Duncan, who passed away, God rest his soul, my sympathies to the family, why didn't he get it? And the family's very, very upset.
They
think everyone except the hospital staff.
Well, Dr. Besser said they only had 7. They only had 7. So the rest of the 4.9 billion people on the earth, if it got to your neighborhood, you're in deep doo-doo. You have to smoking cigarettes on the whole night. It's a whole thing. We're gonna go and come back. We'll be back with more Hot Topics. I mean, that is just...
Is your child's homework too hard for you? Why more and more parents are failing to make the grade. Nick Cannon reveals why he dropped $2 million on one pair of shoes.
So welcome back. I was just eating candy and you almost busted me. The controversy keeps growing over this investigation into the audio tape where actor Stephen Collins allegedly admits he molested several young girls. Now, I've known Stephen for years. You've known Stephen for years. So I'll ask you first, how did you react when you first heard all of this?
Shocked and heartbroken.
Yeah.
I think like anyone here who knows somebody who's been accused of sexual abuse of children. It devastates everyone in the radius of that person. Because it's a shocking allegation. And, you know, for me, I always have my antenna up in a way for that, having had a childhood with that. And I never, in a million years, and that's the thing that scared me the most, right? That you would look at him, in my opinion, he's the Michael Landon of this generation. He always plays the wholesome, wonderful, loving, caring guy. And in real life, is that? And then to add that on top of it is so unbelievably kind of...
Hard. Hard. Did you know him?
No, I've never met him.
Okay.
No.
Can I read? So this is now entering into a pretty intense legal phase of all this. I think this is personal. You guys know him, but I think that what most people will see is sort of this war of words between the lawyers. So Faye Grant, his wife, has been accused of peddling the audio tape, which was how we learned a lot of this, and she's saying it's offensive and outrageous that his lawyer is attempting to deflect focus from the content of that recording by attacking her for how it got out. But I know that's a big question, right? How did the tape get out?
Well, she claimed she gave it 2 years ago to the NYPD and the LAPD, and that it just happened to come out now. And his side is claiming, well, it came out now because the divorce is about to be settled. However, when you hear the actual man, Stephen Collins...
Who they're not confirming or denying, though, that is actually
well,
him.
I could say as somebody who knows him, it sounds an awful lot like him, or it's a very good impersonator, right? So to hear his actual voice saying the things that he had done was horrific and terrifying.
Yeah. Well, you know, we're going to be hearing a lot more about this case, and
sad.
You know, that's why you never know. You never know who you're walking down the street with. You never know sometimes who you're sleeping with. You know, it's kind of wild. Anyway, to a more humorous aspect of life. The director of the blockbuster comedies Bridesmaids and The Heat, Paul Feig, officially announced he is helming the reboot of Ghostbusters with an all-female cast. Well, he hasn't said, he has not released cast names yet, but any suggestions?
Right here, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Who are you gonna call?
Who are you gonna call?
That's right.
Wolfbuster.
I always wanted to be in a movie.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, we have a guest coming on, Cristela.
Oh, she'd be good.
She'd be good.
Funny. She would be wonderful.
She'd be wonderful. And you know what? I know they're female names floating
Kristen Wiig
around.
is floating around.
Yeah, not one woman of color. Not one name is floating around. I was like, don't you remember the black guy? I'm just saying, and it's no disrespect. It's no disrespect to those ladies, because I love them all. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, there's that.
It's fine. You know, Halloween came early last night. It was the premiere of American Horror Story Freak Show! Which I also beg every year to be part of. I love American Horror Story because it scares the poop out of me, makes me happy. Did you watch?
So I watched because my friend Sarah Paulson is in it, and it terrifies me. And I can't watch it alone, and I know you can't watch it at night. But I would not watch it if I didn't love her so much because it's too scary for me. Too scary.
I just thought that, for me, I like when a show takes me someplace that is out of my realm. Like, I want to think something's under the bed. When I watch a horror movie, I want to think something is under the bed.
Under the bed with the flashlight.
But that's, to me, that's fun, because here's the deal.
Mommy's dizzy.
No. We're on the same page. You know what? I had a terrifying childhood. I don't want anything to terrify me in my adult life.
I don't want to be scared.
I was watching boxing last night, and somebody tweeted me, was like, Rosie, I thought you were going to watch this. What is wrong with you? And I was like, I'm scared.
But you know what it is?
But do you ever bring, like, a bizarre thing from your kitchen under the bed? Like, I bring something that would never protect me.
There's only one movie I will not watch in the daytime.
Which is?
Take a guess.
Burnt Offerings.
No, I love that movie.
Oh, I hated it. It's my only one I ever saw.
Which one?
Exorcist?
Yes, I will not watch that in the daylight. But...
Which one is Red Rum? What's
Shining.
That's The Shining.
But here's the greatest thing about a horror movie. It teaches you what not to do. And I often say to my friends, particularly my white friends,
don't go look.
If you hear something in the house, be black. We go another direction. We know. We know stuff. We don't go up saying, is anyone there? That's not us. We don't do that.
I get it. I was watching, I gotta say, the opening credits are unbevillable.
Yes.
Ryan Murphy and Brett
Yes.
Hotrick, who did
Fantastic.
so many amazing shows.
Yeah.
They're geniuses.
Yeah.
I got right up to the clown. When the clown came on, I had to, look at the face, look at the mouth, doesn't move. When he bowed, and then he took out the jungle
Don't tell
pit, Mommy went to Animal Planet. I could not do it. And I don't ever want to see it again, and I don't even want to see a promo for it on my other shows that I watch.
Never.
So we'll be back with the entire cast of... We'll be right back.
The creator and star of one of the season's most buzzed about new sitcoms, Cristela Alonso, is showing you why she's being called the one to watch in comedy.
Okay.
During and after the show, find us at The View TV.
That was funny. Welcome back. Hey, you know, the White House is trying to reach out to millennials. I guess that's what, 20-somethings or...
Yeah.
Do they have a lot of names, the millennials?
I don't know.
Anyway, they're reaching out to try to get them to vote in the midterm elections by launching a social media campaign loaded with emojis. Emojis are those little, you know, smiley faces and, I don't know, sad faces. I don't know. Do you think they're maybe trying a little hard here?
They are a huge part of President Obama's base, and Democrats are very worried about these elections. The 6th year of a presidency is always really hard on the president's party, and I sort of admire the ingenuity of this. You have to go get your voters to turn out however you can, and if a smiley face gets them to do something you want them to do, I think that's smart.
That's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah. I've never seen, like, what would it be, like emoji and then a voting booth, and then a heart, and then a happy face, and then a go there, and then push a... What would it be? I don't even know.
Well, I think that this generation is so tuned in to social media. I think that any way you can get to them, you should.
Yeah.
But does it mean that they're stopping using words? See, that's the thing that kind of freaks me out. Because now everybody has to be able to read them. Not everybody can read those damn emoticons.
Yeah, it's true.
Not everybody can read it.
Remember that kid?
iPhone started sending me these weird things. I'm like, do you even know what that is? I mean, they just came with her phone, and she adds them in. And I mean, I think they need a little sort of translation. Yeah.
Remember that game Concentration?
Yes.
And then they turn it off and it'd be an emoji puzzle.
Yes.
You had to solve. Remember that?
Yeah.
Am I the only one?
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
sorry.
All right. A couple of us with canes remember.
Exactly.
Yeah. How about this? President Carter, you don't remember Jimmy Carter. He's the latest critic of President Obama, claiming that Obama waited too long to address the terror threat posed by ISIS. And I think that's funny because they said the same thing about him, that he waited too long before he took any action. And so what is this?
So to me, I know we talked earlier this week about Leon Panetta, who is President Obama's former defense secretary, who came and offered very similar criticism. What's so remarkable to me about Jimmy Carter criticizing President Obama is that if you look throughout American history, there's no one on the ideological spectrum more closely aligned with President Obama's foreign policy, which he's made it an asset to be much more restrained. I mean, I think people that are his supporters like that about him. They were tired of an aggressive foreign policy. But for Jimmy Carter now to come out and say it's not enough, and to me, I mean, you could take the Carter quotes and say who said this, and they could have come from any Republican. Talking about his Middle East policy, it changes from time to time. I noticed 2 of his secretaries of defense were very critical of the lack of positive action. This has been the Republican critique for 6 years, and to now hear it come from Democrats is stunning to me.
Right. I you know, I have my issues with how the president has handled this situation, and I wish he would have acted sooner and stronger. But also, what I have a problem is that our country here, we are doing better. We are doing better, and that's just a fact, you know. And in regards to the increase of jobs, the economy is getting better, and we're not putting that out front. And
I don't
you
disagree with you. What's so stunning about that is that Democrats, despite the fact we've added jobs for 55 months in a row. We've added jobs. Unemployment's now, I think, just under 6%. No Democrat wants to see Obama at a single campaign event, and he's helped make that improvement. So it's a political reality, and listen, there's nothing about being president that's fair, and there's not much about the job that's particularly fun, no matter your party. And no one was more harsh to President Bush received incredibly harsh criticism, but when it comes from your own party, it's stunning to me, just as an observer of politics.
And Bush won't criticize Obama.
Ever.
No.
Yeah. So put it this way, Carter has been harsher on Obama than George W. Bush ever has been or would be.
And I think Jimmy Carter is an outlier in many ways. He's not just a Democrat. I think he is a man of peace.
You love him, right?
He is my favorite president ever, and I think probably the most pious human being I've ever met in my life, and I have tremendous respect, admiration for him and his wife.
Well, he's okay. No, I'm just trying to get to myself. Listen, I'm going to be performing Friday and Saturday this weekend. First at Foxwoods.
Wow.
In
I love Foxwoods.
Connecticut.
Yes.
And on Saturday, the 11th, I'll be in the Ridgefield Playhouse, and I believe that's in Ridgefield, Connecticut.
Yes, it
and
is.
if you want, if you want to hang out, come to the show.
You do stand-up?
Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of it's a weird thing. I talk about stuff. I know. No, I talk about stuff, and it's fun. And if you got time, come and go gamble. I love to gamble. I'm just telling you. But you know what I don't gamble on? I don't gamble on this man because I know he's a winner. When we come back, we're bringing back the fabulous Nick Cannon.
President Nick Cannon? Anything's possible. Find out why next.
We just wrapped up the season of America's Got Talent, but this is one superstar who does not ever take a break. Please welcome Nick Cannon. Wow, those are wow.
These are size 12. These too big for you, Whoopi, but I'm gonna send you some.
You guys
very fly. I wear size 11 in women's shoes, but I like those.
There is a pair on the way to you.
All right, baby.
Now, is it the $2 million pair?
Nah, these aren't the $2 million shoes. These are the stunt shoes. These
Okay.
are the stand-in.
No, I know what that means.
for the-
I'm just learning, but like a stand-in shoe.
Yeah, those are the
Oh.
$2 million shoes because I can't. They're at home in the safe because
Like with security and
yeah,
an
you
alarm.
gotta have like extra security, so I keep them in LA. So.
Yeah, I would too. Don't put them like
You
in
had-
checked luggage or anything.
Yeah,
No.
you don't want to do that.
No.
You had a great year on America's Got Talent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that
was
show's
so much
rocking.
fun.
Really fun.
You got to be a part of the show as well.
Yeah,
That
it was
cool.
so wild at Radio City. What a great energy and everything.
Yeah, we had so much fun, and obviously having Howard, Howie, Mel B, and Heidi, and then just so much talent. I mean, I'm really happy with the winner. Finally, it was someone who wasn't a singer. I got tired of
Right.
Like, we got a musician, so that was good. I was excited about that.
Excellent. How's the babies?
The babies are amazing. 3.5 years old, so they're not babies no more. They're-
Little people on a
Yeah.
mission.
Yeah, I took those pictures. It's like, all you got to say to my son is, where's the tough guy? And he does that pose.
Oh, he has a face.
Cute.
Face.
Yeah.
So the real Husbands of Hollywood is back, and you might be a politician.
Yeah, so Kevin Hart and I obviously we have the fakest reality show on television. And this time I'm running for the mayor of Beverly Hills. So Kevin's always trying to like top me in the show, and it was like, oh, he can never be a politician. He's too short. So I was.
And if you need any help, that's.
Of course, that's your world. So,
Yeah, so call
it
me.
might, art might imitate life. You never know. So
I'm telling you, that's where it all begins.
Hey, it's all.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just
No,
saying,
no,
you're
this
talking
is cool.
politics. I think I might be Canon 16 or something.
Listen, I can help you.
Well, Cannon 14.
Yeah.
2 children's books?
Yes. Oh man, I have the opportunity to work with Scholastic. I grew up.
We all did,
I've always
right?
been an advocate for literacy, just because I had issues. I had coming up. I had a couple of issues in school and stuff, and not really. And I actually overcame them, and a lot of it happened through poetry. Because I had some learning disabilities and had issues speaking in front of people and things, and through poetry, and specifically Shel Silverstein books. So. A Light in the Attic, Where the Sidewalk Ends, The Giving Tree, all of these things. And I had the opportunity to write a poetry book in the same fashion as Shel, but I got to put my little hip-hop spin on it.
Nice.
So it's called Neon Aliens Ate My Homework. So it's really cool. And so it's something that's really special to me. And the second one is even more special to me, and actually will be out this holiday because it's about my children. I've turned like rock and roll to like the new Raggedy Ann and Andy. So we're doing a book series of all the adventures of rock and roll, and this is the 12 Days of Christmas. So obviously we always do holidays extremely big, so this is just an example of that.
So, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to ask you one more thing, because I was at the Lupus Foundation last night. How's your health?
My health is amazing. That's one of the reasons why I'm here to talk today. About health and wellness. And, I always say I take my tests and turn them into testimonies. In 2012, I was diagnosed with lupus nephritis. That's why I got my purple on today, my loopy colors.
Right.
But to be... I truly feel like it was the scariest time in my life. I mean, I was hospitalized for almost 3 months, and I didn't know what it was. I wasn't educated on it, so I said, once I get this under control, I'm going to be one of those people that can get out there and speak to it, educate people, make them aware, and know that you can make it. I made it through, and I'm stronger and better shape than ever.
Yeah. Tell everybody the symptoms. What were your symptoms?
You know what? It snuck up on me during the holidays. I didn't know. I have a very specific case, lupus nephritis, where my immune system was attacking my kidneys. And I was in Aspen, so I was in high elevation. So even people were saying, oh, you're just dehydrated.
Yeah, you never know what's wrong with you at altitude, right?
And then, I ended up getting rushed to a couple different hospitals to see some specialists. And it was, that my immune system was attacking my kidneys. And so from that, lupus is one of those diseases where it sneaks up on you, and it can be disguised as fatigue a lot of times. So I had the opportunity to get over that, and now I'm here to talk about so many other things.
And the flu too, right?
Yes,
because a lot of people die of the flu, and they don't, those symptoms too, if people think it's a common cold. I know with little kids, I mean, I get the flu shot for my kids.
Absolutely.
So you're helping to get the word out about that
so
too.
I have the opportunity to partner with the makers of Theraflu to
Miracle drug,
yes,
I'm sorry.
No,
If I
it
can
is.
just say.
It truly is, because right now it is flu season, and everyone has to be aware. So they came up with this thing called the Fluprint, which is really cool. So it's a 5-step action plan to get you ready and prepared for flu season and get everyone flu ready. And it's simple stuff. You can learn is the first step, vaccinate, getting the flu shots the second.
Do you get the flu shot?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
me and my
Me
kids.
too. Now that do you get it?
Yes.
Now that
Yeah.
little kid.
And it kind of
Already got it.
educates people, because a lot of people get scared of it. So you go to the Theraflu Facebook page, you can learn about the vaccinations, you can prepare, and then you can treat it with things like Theraflu. And then the coolest part is the sharing, because just by liking the Facebook page, they donate $1 up to $100,000 to a nonprofit organization called Families Fighting Flu for the less fortunate. So it's really cool.
Good for you, Nick. You're always doing good things.
Got to.
Yes, you do.
You got to come back.
I will be here every day.
We'll take it. Our thanks to Nick Cannon. We'll be right back.
On the brand new sitcom here on ABC that she created and stars in, Cristela. Take a look.
Honey.
You are hilarious. Are you excited?
I'm excited. I feel like I was just called down to The Price is Right. Like,
You know, I have to tell you, I watched your sitcom last night, and I was laughing out loud, and I am so proud of you.
thank you so much.
So proud of you.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Amazing. What you did, and that you took your life and created the show.
Yeah, well, I wanted to tell the story of my family because I grew up loving...
These were my friends in my head.
They were I was the same way, and I wanted to give a throwback to the shows that I grew up with, like The Cosby Show. Right. The shows that kids could watch with their parents for a half hour and be entertained.
Yeah. Yeah, and you made history with this show, correct?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did. I'm the first Latina to create, produce, write, and star in their first network show.
Your mother have thought? I know she passed away in 2012 or 2002?
2002. I think the first thing my mom would say is, you wear too much makeup on the show.
Okay.
And I think she would be so proud. She was an immigrant, and I don't think she ever thought that any one of her kids would ever have this kind of opportunity, and that's why I do it. I mean, a big part of the show is just a tribute to my mom, because I just thought the mom did such an amazing job.
Right. You know what I love about the show? Not only your comedic timing and delivery, but the jokes.
Yes.
There was one scene where one of the interns, which is the daughter of the lawyer, says to you, "Are you the maid?" Mm-hmm. And you said no, and she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you're with parking. Can you validate these?"
Yes.
And your response is,
"I think you've been validated enough."
I was reading an article that said that when you left home at 18, your mom literally got on her knees and cried and begged you not to go?
She begged me not to go, and she said that I was breaking her heart. And she said that if I left, she would never talk to me again. Aww. And I had to leave, though, because I loved theater so much with all my heart that I knew that if I didn't follow my heart, I would hate myself forever. And I remember telling her, like, "Mom, I love you. You're my favorite person ever. But if I don't do what my heart's telling me to do, I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life." And I did. And she didn't talk to me for about a year or so. And we made up after it. And I think she got it. You know, it's like she came from Mexico to here, and she did something that was difficult. Yeah. And she understood that I wanted to do something difficult, and she tried to support me as best she could.
And what did she tell you about dreaming when you were a poor kid? And what did she tell you and your siblings?
My family and I, we grew up really poor. My mom was about survival. She wanted to get by, pay bills, you know, and she always told me that dreaming was something for rich people. We weren't allowed to dream, you know? We were about paying bills and surviving. So I was the first person in the family that told her, no, actually, we're the ones that should be dreaming, because we don't have anything. And our goal is to have something so that we can give it off to the future generations so that everybody can do a little bit better than we did.
Afterwards, you went on to the college circuit?
Yes.
The comedy?
You know, I did a lot of college shows. I did over 300 colleges.
Wow. They're not easy.
They're not.
No.
They're not. But, you know, I loved doing them. I thought that every school that I went to, the kids were so hip and smart, and I loved them. And sometimes we would, you know, sometimes they loved the show so much that they would ask me back to their dorm room to party with them. And I'm like, two things. A, I look like a chaperone, or the undercover cop.
Yeah. Or it's illegal.
Yeah, exactly.
There's that, right?
I'm like, am I here for the college brochure pictures? What's going on?
Yeah, what is happening?
Did you have any influence on having Fluffy on the show?
Yes,
Gabriel, who is the best.
Gabriel Iglesias is one of my best friends. I love him. I love him. I love him.
He's not fat.
No, he's fluffy. Gabriel and I have known each other for about 13 years. Before I started doing stand-up, I worked at the comedy club in Dallas at the Improv, and he would come in and we would hit it off, and I had no idea I was going to start doing stand-up, and we just kind of kept in touch. And when the pilot came up, I asked him if he would do me a favor and be in.
I will be supporting your career, and I just wish you the best. And thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
People, please watch this woman. She's amazing. Thanks to Cristela Alonso. Her new sitcom, Cristela, premieres tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. right here on ABC. You better watch, and we will be right back.
Woo!